Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Scout Fantasy PGA DFS. My name is Alex White. Mark Ferris will not be with us today. He has got some work to do, so it'll just be me riding solo again. Today we take on the RBC Heritage. But briefly, I want to kind of go over the Masters. Congratulations to Tiger Woods. That was just the best, most emotional ride. You know, those last 3 or 4 holes, watching him just kind of take charge. It was the old Tiger. It was awesome to see. I mean, I didn't expect it. I didn't see it this soon. I didn't see him winning a major at the Masters. I did think he had one in him, but I did not think it would be the Masters. So awesome to see. Congratulations to Tiger Woods. But, you know, we made some right calls. We made some wrong calls last week. I mean, that leaderboard was stacked. It was the coolest Masters I've seen in a long time. So you really had to hit the nuts with your top players to really make some money. Congratulations to a few listeners that did win some money. JK, especially, you know, that was awesome that you got a bunch of money back on FanDuel for him winning that tournament. I mean, that's just super cool of FanDuel to do that. Hopefully they took out insurance on that policy because they lost their asses. Not always bad though, because when FanDuel loses, you know, they'll think twice about doing promotions like that again, but they're such a big company. I mean, $1 million is chump change to them, right? Well, let's get after it. So RBC Heritage is played at Harbortown Golf Links. It is a little under 7,100 yards. I believe it 7,099 yards. It is a par 71 Bermuda greens. It ranks 19th out of 51 courses on the PGA Tour as far as difficulty. It has 3 par 5s, 4 par 3s, and 10 par 4s. So it is going to be more of a par 4 scoring course. It's much shorter. It's a positional course, so it's all about putting the ball in the fairway and greens and regulation. With it being a Pete Dye design, there's a lot of, you know, crazy landscapes. There's water, a bunch of sand. It's a challenge, and the weather this week is nuts. As far as I know, on Friday and Saturday, there's gusts that could get all the way up to 45 miles per hour, and the weather and wind should sustain at 20 to 30 miles per hour Friday and Saturday afternoon. So I don't think there's a big stack. Like for the tee times, we shouldn't be stacking tee times, but I do want to mention we definitely should be focusing on golfers that do play better in the wind. If you have a golfer that you love, I really would, you know, ask myself or Mark on Slack chat if they're good wind players or not, because you might be all in and stats might be lining up, form might be lining up, but if they can't play in the wind, all of that stuff goes out the window. Because the past few tournaments, you know, these golfers that are in good form, winds really haven't exceeded over 15 miles per hour. So this is a whole different game. I could see the cut line honestly being at like +3 with how challenging the wind could get here. And with Friday and Saturday being the most difficult, Friday obviously is going to be our cut line. So if Thursday you have a great lineup, don't get too excited, because when the wind kicks up on Friday, a lot of these golfers that have posted low scores on Thursday are going to have a challenge to make the cut on Friday. Well, let's get after it. I'm just going to break it down slowly today, quickly today, giving you my top plays in the top ranges, and then giving you some value plays, also a few GPP darts. All right, let's get started. So this top range, we're focusing all the way through. Let's start with let's go all the way down to Kevin Kisner. So Kevin Kisner at 9,100, all the way up to Dustin Johnson. Obviously, these top plays, so you have Kuchar, DeChambeau, Xander Schauffele, Francesco Molinari, and Dustin Johnson. They are all above 10K. My favorite plays in that range, if I would rank them, it would be Dustin Johnson, number 1. I would then go Matt Kuchar, and then Bryson DeChambeau. I am fading Francesco Molinari this week. He is my fade of the week. It doesn't really fit him. And he had a very emotional Sunday at the Masters, you know, 2 doubles after pretty much going 54 holes without a bogey. Just phenomenal golf, you know, Thursday through Saturday. Francesco Molinari played great. He just had a couple boneheaded mistakes, you know, pin seeking on hole 12 and putting in the water. He got unlucky and hit that pine cone on, I think it was hole 16, to post another double because the ball went in the water. It was a tough break, but that that wears on a guy. And he doesn't have great course history here, and he ranks, I believe it's 86th in the field as far as putting on Bermuda. And it's too much of a price for me to pay for Molinari. So if I am paying all the way up, I'm definitely going to pay for DJ. I'll mix in some DeChambeau, and I will have a little bit of Kuchar. I love Xander as a golfer overall. I'm not going to say I'm going to complete fade him, but he will be my lowest owned outside of Francesco Molinari in this top range. Throughout there, let's see. So Kisner, Fleetwood, Webb Simpson, Jim Furyk, Jordan Spieth, and Patrick Cantlay as our next crew. I'll kind of break down. My favorite in that range is Tommy Fleetwood. He has never played the course, but this course really focuses on around the green game and accurate drives. And Tommy Fleetwood is exceptional off the tee. I don't think he's going to have any issue putting the ball in the fairway here. His biggest issue might be his approach shots, but these greens are very challenging to hit. This course is bottom 5 as far as greens in regulation. So what I mean by that is 56% of the golfers actually put the ball in the green in greens in regulation, and that's a very low amount. That's bottom 5 in the PGA Tour. So even if, our golfers aren't striking it well and the wind's crazy and we just, can't seem to find a green, par golf might be where it's at this week. And I think Tommy Fleetwood has the best chance to score when he has a chance on the par 5s and then also to par on the par 4s and possibly take advantage once in a while on these par 3s. I love his around the green game. I love his off the tee game. And I just think it's a great fit for him. Hopefully he goes a little bit under the radar. He didn't have a great Masters, kind of a piss poor weekend. He just couldn't make any putts. So I really hope that Fleetwood gets it going. And I honestly, he's my favorite play under Dustin Johnson. And if his ownership stays low, I will rack him up. I mean, I can honestly play him in 50 to 60% of my lineups if his ownership's under 18%. I'm very high on Fleetwood this week. I also like Patrick Cantlay. He's just solid. He's consistent. 2 great finishes at this course, T3 and T7. Played great last week at the Masters. I think he shot 12 under over the weekend. He just made the cut at +2 and then ended up 10 under for the tournament. Had a phenomenal 8 under round, 64 at the Masters on Saturday. So, if he's willing to go low, and I mean, he's not a bad win player either, so that's always, a positive. Jordan Spieth right underneath him. I'm not going to say I'm going to fade Jordan this week because what I think you can do at this course, I think you can club down off the tee, and his driver has just been absolutely horrible. And you kind of saw that on Thursday at the Masters. He was just spraying it left, right, center. Well, not really center, just left and right. He could not find a fairway, but the Masters is such a course where you don't have to necessarily – you don't have to hit the fairways always. It's as long as you're not right behind a tree on that course, you can put it on the green. You saw Tiger do that quite a bit to really, kind of save his ass throughout that weekend. He had some really good recovery shots. So if Jordan can club down and go with some irons off the tee, I think that'll play a big role in how he finishes this weekend. So he's an awesome GPP play. I know in some very low dollar tournaments, I will definitely have Spieth. He won't be in my main builds whatsoever, but I will play some Spieth this week. Webb Simpson, Jim Furyk, high on both of them. I like Furyk probably the best outside of Fleetwood in this range. If I was to rank, I would go Fleetwood, Furyk, Siwoo Kim, and then Kevin Kisner. That would be my top 4 from 9,000 all the way up to Cantlay, and then Cantlay would come in right after that. My lowest play, I would say, just naturally is going to be Spieth, but I already told you how I feel about Spieth. But I'm high on Furyk. He might be forgotten, honestly, after not playing in the Masters. He won't be as high owned as he possibly could be. I think he would have been a great fit for the Masters, honestly. I wish Furyk would have played there with how calm it was. He didn't have to be super long off the tee to make an impact there. Even Kisner, he was one of my fades of the week. He had a good Sunday. Other than that, he didn't play great. He had a decent Thursday and a good Sunday. But that was as good as I thought Kisner could do. I told Mark on our podcast last week that I think Kisner's ceiling is top 25. He took 21st, but at 6,700, that was worth paying for. I pivoted to Siwoo Kim, who finished in the exact same position, but he did end up scoring 12 more DraftKings points. He just put up more birdies than Kisner, and I think that could be the case this week. Same concept. Siwoo once in a while, he's gonna just screw you. He just will. And I don't think it's this week. He plays really well in Pete Dye courses. I think it was last year that he took second place at this course, so he does like it. I'm very high on Siwoo, Furyk, Kisner, and like I said, Fleetwood is my favorite in that range. So I love the 9K range this week. But the 8K is actually my favorite range. It's easier to build a more balanced build this week. If you're not going to be able to pay up for DJ, you just don't like what you see, in the low 7K, high 6K range, it's going to be hard to pay for DJ and be comfortable. So in this 8K range, I definitely like my favorite play by far is Ian Poulter. So I know Mark will definitely be on board with that pick. He loves Ian Poulter. He had a pretty good Friday, Saturday at the Masters. He just kind of folded a little bit on Sunday. It was, sad to see, but I don't know. It's hard for Poulter to contend when there's that many just absolute elite golfers at the top of that field. So this is a little bit of a weaker field, and if he's there on Saturday again, I could see Poulter actually winning this tournament. I believe he was in the lead last year. He was the 54-hole leader. He likes it. He took 7th last year. He had a poor Sunday, but he plays pretty decent in the wind. So I'm going to be firing up Poulter all over the place. Cash, GPPs, wherever you want to play him. I think he's a great option this week. Let's see. Ryan Moore, Byung-Hun An, and Sungjae Im are my next 3 favorite in this 8K range. I think Byung-Hun An is just an awesome option. He took 7th here last season. He's just a scoring machine, and he actually plays better in the wind than I think most people would believe. I think Byung-Hun An is just a solid option throughout, and with his ability to score just quickly. He could be first-round leader, and I really hope he is, because I hope the wind doesn't affect his game too much. But first round leader is not out of the question for him. And if he can do that, it'll be an awesome weekend. So I love Byung-Hun An. I'm going to play him in cash and GPPs as well. I just think he has great upside. And even if he doesn't come in like the top 20 at 8,000, if he scores like he can, he could easily pay off that salary still, even if he's, comes in 30th. So I like him. Ryan Moore is more of a par golfer, but he plays well in the wind, excellent ball striker, and he took a T16 here last year, so he does have some course history. So I like Ryan Moore. And then Sungjae Im, it just doesn't matter, it feels like what course this kid's on. He goes out there and just fires at pins and putts well, and I don't know. I don't know how like a crazy wind is going to affect him. I haven't really, seen him on a course where winds are over 20 miles an hour. That could be a serious factor. I'm not going to fire him up everywhere. I would say my favorite would be Poulter, then Byung-Hun An, Ryan Moore, and then Sungjae Im, but I will definitely play Sungjae Im. Brandon Grace has really good course history here. He also has won in 2015. He's not as good as a win player as people would think, even though he is European. He's got a low ball flight, but I don't know. I don't see it being a Brandon Grace week. And I could be wrong on that. I'm not fading him, but I just like other golfers around him better. Matt Fitzpatrick will definitely get some attention, and he deserves it. This course reminds me a little bit of the AT&T Pro-Am. It's a shorter course, and he took 2nd there behind Rory. And, I just think that Fitzpatrick has a lot of talent, but he is very, very up and down. So he is GPP only for me. But when he's playing well, he could easily top 5 this tournament, if not win it. Even last week, his weekend, I believe he shot 8 under over the weekend. He had a 3 under round and then a 5 under round on Sunday. So Fitzpatrick is solid, and I'm gonna keep firing Fitzpatrick up, especially in this range where I think Charles Howell and Jason Kokrak take a lot of the ownership. I'm not playing Kokrak this week. He is the DFS darling, and he has every right to be. I'm going to fade Kokrak in this range. I think I've made about 20-some lineups already, and I don't think he's in a single one. It's not that I don't like him as a player. I really do. I think he's extremely talented. His ball striking is exceptional, but I don't think that he's going to be able to handle the wind. And if he doesn't play great on Thursday, which he hasn't been playing great on Thursdays and Fridays, he's been killing it on the weekends. If if he doesn't play great on Thursday, he's not going to make the cut on Friday. I'm just already going to call it. I don't see it happening. But if he has a great round on Thursday, then he might, only go +3 or +2 on Friday and end up making the cut with those high wins. So it really depends on how he plays on Thursday. I'm not going to play Jason Kokrak myself. Billy Ho might get some attention. I'm off him this week. I just think his ball striking's a little bit off at this point. He played okay at the Masters. I mean, he made the cut, but he's just not impressing me at this point. He was doing really well at the beginning of the year, but he's kind of doing his disappearing act like he always does in the middle of the season. I will be back on him towards the end of the year, when those FedEx playoffs come, but just not right now. It's not going to work out for him. Underneath that, Mark Leishman, I think, is being disrespected at 8K. He's just an exceptional golfer. I don't think it's a great course fit. He's a decent win player, not as great as people think, being from Australia. But I don't know. I honestly think I'd pivot right underneath him to Cam Smith, another fellow Australian. And I think he is better talent long-term than Leishman does. And I see this kid just getting better as he gets older. And the more he plays these courses, I feel like his finishing positions will get stronger and stronger. He played okay at the Masters. He really disappointed on Sunday. I believe he shot a 5 over. And that, it's a Sunday Masters. There's a lot of, it was high scoring, so it was a little bit frustrating to see that. But what can you do? Cam Smith, he played pretty solid, put up a lot of birdies. I'm just going to play him over Mark Leishman. I'll play him over Justin Harding. Mark, good call on him last week. I'm sorry that I talked you off of him. He still is a short course player, so this might fit him well. The Masters wasn't a good fit. He gained over 8 strokes on the greens. He putted phenomenal. And, if you're number 1 in the field in putting, I mean, no wonder you're top 10. His ball striking wasn't great. His off the tee game wasn't great. It was good enough, obviously. He top 10 at like 6,100. I mean, he crushed his value. He was actually in the optimal lineup. If he could have won you $1 million if you had the right build around him. So, I mean, that was a great call, Mark. Sorry that I talked you off him. It didn't fit. But, sometimes all it takes is 4 solid days and enough motivation to keep you going. He might bring in just a hot game and end up playing well this week. I still don't have enough stats on this guy to really give you an honest answer. I don't know what he's all about. So I'm going to play golfers around him, and I don't know if he's a good win player or not. So I'm gonna fade Justin Harding this week. But I'm not saying that you have to. I'm just me personally. Lucas Glover, I like him. I really do. I think this course fits him really well. I was super, super, super high on him earlier in the week. I honestly thought that this would be the week that he would pull out a top 5, if not win this course. But right now with Lucas Glover, with the way his game's going, and it's solid, but the wind is going to, I believe, destroy him. And it's not going to put him on the greens enough. And he's not great enough around the greens. He's pretty solid, but he's just not – he's not what you need. And I believe with his ownership being super, super high at 7,800, there's other plays around there that I'd rather take. Charlie Hoffman and Russell Knox being both of them. I will take both of them over Glover this week. I do like Glover still. He will still most likely make my write-up, but I just, with looking at his win stats, I think the wins this high are really going to mess up his game. So same with Kokrak. They're very similar players. That's why I'm not fading both of them, but staying away from both of them most definitely. I'm going to fade. Well, not fade. I'm not going to play Lucas List, though, even though he took Luke List. He took 3rd last season. Again, not a great win player, and I just think the course play is completely different this season. I will play Emiliano Grillo. I like him. I like Matt Wallace, and I also like Keith Mitchell in this lower 7K range. And then Luke Donald, who is obviously the course horse. He's taken 2nd here, I believe 3 times in the past 5 years. He might be under-owned, though. He could still come under 10% ownership. Sometimes course history isn't enough to drive people onto a golfer, but he's a pretty good win player. He's, puts the ball in the fairway, and obviously his results show that he likes this course. So I will play Luke Donald quite heavily. And like I said, Matt Wallace and Keith Mitchell definitely will be in my builds. Mitchell he just bogeyed too much last week. He could have been in the mix, man. The dude I think he put up almost 20 birdies on the week at the Masters. He could not avoid the bogeys and the big numbers. And I think that comes with just a little bit of course knowledge. So next year, if Keith Mitchell's in the Masters field, hopefully I remember this, but I want to play him next year. He scored great, even though he was 40th position. His scoring was awesome. So I like Keith Mitchell this week. And he's a lot better on Bermuda greens than any other putting surface. So there's a bump there with Keith Mitchell. I don't necessarily know how he is in the wind, but not everybody's a great wind player, but still some of these guys have to make the cut. And I think Mitchell definitely does. Let's see. Underneath there, I'm not really going in to this 6K range. I don't have a lot of golfers I like. I will mention Kevin Na. I think he's a solid option. I don't mind Ernie Els way at the bottom at 6,300. I just think he could have a decent term and put the ball in the fairway and then avoid, he knows the course pretty well. He can avoid the big numbers, and he's played long enough to understand what strong winds are. So I think Ernie Els becomes a decent play at that very low price. That would allow you to, play DJ. You can get in Ernie Els, and then, you'd have mid 7K to pay up there. So that's an option. But that's it, guys. There are some darts. Those will be in my article, though. That's enough, for today's podcast, guys. That's pretty much it. So any questions that you have, like I said, on Twitter at Coach White DFS. You can also look me and Mark up on Slack chat. The best way, guys, to ask your questions is through there. We answer as quickly as possible. If I don't answer, Mark definitely gets to your answer. We work as a team. Unfortunately, Mark couldn't make it today, so sick of hearing me talk. I apologize. We'll get out of here right now. And like I said, I always post my cash lineup on my article. So if it says DraftKings cash lineup example at the bottom of my article, take it, use it. Use it for your cash. It is what I am going to play. And if you don't feel confident that you know enough about PGA DFS and you just want to make a little bit of money on cash, I'm confident enough that you can take my lineup. So, this is a great week. It's called the Heritage Hangover. I think this field is exceptionally strong for the week after the Masters. But, these golfers are hungry. They want to win. My pick to win is going to be Tommy Fleetwood. I think he needs to get one under his belt, and I think this is the course and the time to do it. And then my low dollar, if I could choose anybody else to win, it would have to be Cam Smith, actually. And I'm not playing him everywhere, but as far as a long shot winner, I think Cam Smith has the ability to do it at this course. That's all, guys. Take it easy. Again, catch us on Slack chat. We're with Scout Fantasy Sports, and that's it. Take it easy, fellas. Have a great day.